There are a lot of parallels that are always drawn between the early days of the internet and cryptocurrencies and blockchain. And I think some of those parallels are really appropriate, particularly where you're talking about regulation, because in the early days of the internet, we heard calls for a single regulator. Should there be a regulator of the internet, and who was going to?
Internet czar.
An internet czar. And that didn't happen. And I think that was probably good that didn't happen. We're seeing similar things here with this technology. So I think when you talk about who's going to regulate in the US, the answer is the same that we see with the internet. You have myriad agencies. You've got DOJ, SEC, CFTC. I won't bore you with the rest of the alphabet soup, but similarly, we saw that with the internet. So no one answer, Peter.
But is it something where there's going to end up being a decree from one of these agencies? And there is a telecom law that effectively sort of regulates a lot of the internet, and over the years we sort of litigated that. You're going to see something like that, or some other way of figuring this stuff out?
I think what you're referring to is the Communications Decency Act, Section 230, but even that didn't come in immediately when we were all using the internet, right? That took several years. It was passed in 1996. I think similarly here, we don't want regulation to outpace understanding. And if you would have had a law about cryptocurrencies or blockchain passed a year ago, it would have been completely outdated today. So I think regulators, lawmakers, policymakers know this. It's important to wait and see how the technology develops. For example, who was talking about ICOs, initial coin offerings, a year and a half ago? We wouldn't have, if we had had a crypto law passed, it wouldn't have covered that. So I don't think we'll see a uniform law on crypto or regulation on crypto. What we'll see instead, I predict, we'll see a series of enforcement actions for some of the worst actors in the space from a variety of different agencies. We will potentially see some legislation in the coming years if it turns out to be necessary. But look, there are already plenty of laws on the books that regulators and lawmakers and law enforcement have. There are money laundering laws, and regulators can adapt to that.
How long practically do you think before you have an established sort of body of law that says this is okay, this isn't okay, this is security, this isn't?
Years.